Hello, hello. Today I wanted to talk to you about using acrylic paint in a sketchbook. I've been doing a lot of that this week, so I just thought it was a good opportunity to share what I know in case it helps you to make more art. So what I thought I'd do in this video is just pull out a selection of my sketchbooks and show you the different ways in which I have used acrylic paint. So the first one I wanted to show you is a little concertina sketchbook that I bought. It's from a brand called Sea White of Brighton, and this sketchbook is very much mixed media. So I've got felt tip pen, I've got a bit of watercolour, maybe a tiny bit of ink, and then I have cut out pieces of collage that I have painted. So this is just painted with acrylic paint and I think possibly a little bit of matte medium. And so I'm just using acrylic paint to create interesting pieces that I can juxtapose with the other things that I've got in this little sketchbook. So I am painting pages that I then cut up. So here's a piece of acrylic paint. And I use the pre-painted pages, to this green bit here, to include in my sketchbook. So that's one of the ways in which I enjoy using acrylic paint. In this sketchbook, I just wanted to talk about pages sticking. The acrylic paint I most often use is a full body acrylic paint, and it can stick. So the two pages can kind of stick together. And here is an example of that. So when it sticks, it creates all these little white dots where the paper is just stuck together. And the reason that acrylic paint in a sketchbook can stick is because it's glossy. So look, here's an example. You can just hear that noise where it's being pulled apart. And when the pages pull apart, it can take some of the paint from the previous page with it. So you see these little white dots are from where the pages have stuck together. And that's because here I've been using really thick paint and it's a little bit glossy. And the glossier the paint, the more it's likely to stick. Now, I don't really worry too much about that because my philosophy is that, there we go, you can hear that noise. My philosophy is that a sketchbook is for messing about, it's not for perfectly finished pages, but it is a bit irritating. And I think the reason these pages have stuck together is because I'm being really thick with the paint. You can really see the brush marks. I'm just getting lots of that paint onto a page, and that's why it's sticking in these pages here. But on the page where I've sort of watered down the paint here, it's not. So the thing to think about when you're using acrylic paint in a sketchbook is how glossy it's going to be and how thick it is. And the thicker the paint, there we go, the thicker the paint, the more likely the pages are to stick together. And what you can do to stop that happening is, of course, you could just put a piece of parchment or a piece of glassine paper in between pages. Or you could use a wax candle to put a bit of a waxy coating over a finished page. I have been experimenting with adding a cold wax medium over the top of finished pages. Just want to put a kind of health warning on that, or a warning on it. This is just my experiment. It's not made for this purpose. I don't know how robust it will be in terms of over the long term. So I just have a pot of cold wax medium in my studio, and I thought, what would happen if I put it over a page? So a finished page. So I just put a tiny bit on a rag or cloth and rub it over the page, and it just really does prevent the pages sticking. Now I'm only doing this on pages that are just acrylic paint because cold wax medium can have a solvent in it, so I'm not sure that it would work on a mixed media page. Maybe someone else has tried it, but because it's got a solvent in it, it could take away the glue. So that is just something that I have been trying whilst using these sort of very standard full-bodied acrylic. The matter the acrylic, the less likely the pages are going to stick. But because I've got loads of this kind of paint, I do want to be able to use it in my sketchbook. So that is the solution that I have come up with at the moment. So on a finished page, just putting a tiny bit of cold wax medium over the page on a cloth, rubbing it in, buffing it, and then the waxiness of the page just stops it from sticking. This is the sketchbook I showed you last week where I am painting with an acrylic gouache. And because this particular kind of paint is so flat and so matte, it's just never going to stick together, which makes it quite a good option for a sketchbook. So I haven't done anything to these pages, I haven't added anything to the paint, just how it comes out of the bottle, and they're really never going to stick together. And this is the sketchbook that I started working this week, and you'll see it's a total hot mess. What I wanted to do was just splodge down as much paint as possible as an underpainting. So none of these pages are really resolved or finished in any way, as you can see, but it's a big concertina book. So the thing about working in a concertina with paint is that you can work on more than one page at once. So you don't have to wait for this page to dry before you can work on this page. So I find that quite liberating when I'm thinking about playing with paint. And this, as you can see, is a total dog's dinner. But what I want to do is I just wanted to start bold. I wanted to get a big brush, play with paint, not worry at all what these pages look like. And I'm going to come back and try and resolve them. So this is the first go at trying to resolve one of these splodgy paintings. And this was the first go. And they're not finished. These pages are not finished. But I've added in, so it's all very splodgy, bold marks. And there was no structure, so I've come and added in some shapes to try and start to resolve some of these pages. So that's one of the ways that I'm using paint, and I have been adding a lot of matte medium to this paint in an attempt to make it to not stick. I will come back and show you this book when it's a little bit more resolved, because at the moment it's just a hot mess. But there is something I like about it. There is something about the size of the marks, the expression, just the kind of wild abandon with paint that I quite like. But I am going to work on it and try and resolve and finish some of these pages. I hope that little short chat about acrylic paint in my sketchbooks was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, all your support and encouragement. I really do appreciate it greatly.